Hey, this is talking on a block here. Okay. Just this is mind-boggling, I'm going to say, just by my standards. However, it may be a little different for you, but Pete Buttigieg is back in the political scene, and to the life of me, I don't understand why he just doesn't take a seat. You know, be married, raise your children, and keep it pushing. But no, not Pete Buttigieg. No, 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 no. Not him. Well, before I get to it, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Please help my channel grow. Okay. Pete Buttigieg made a statement, and oh my goodness. Okay. He said, let's basically get rid of the electoral college. Yes, let's get rid of it. Because we only need, because electoral college has about, what was it, 537 people throughout the United States to vote for the president. Now, and DC has 3. Quite interesting. I was under the impression that DC didn't have that right to vote for the president, but no, they do. And I'll show you a little information I pulled up. Buttigieg, man, you he lost so bad in 2020. I mean, some states he didn't even get past 1,000 people to vote for him. No, he didn't get past 1,000. He didn't. Let me go ahead and show you, because this right here is just doing a number on me. I'm just thinking, OMG, Buttigieg. Here. All right, 2020, right? And for the Republican, this is total votes. And this, what state is this in? Idaho, right? When you get to the Democratic side, Idaho as well. Pete Buttigieg got 1,400. Michigan, 22,000. $526. This right here is in Mississippi. And I'm starting to see the turn. Here. Missouri. Here's Buttigieg. Okay, here. You got 3,000. So it would make you wonder. Okay, Buttigieg, why are you doing this to yourself? North Dakota, he doesn't even... Oh, here he is. Oh, he got 164 total votes. Woo, okay. Out of the entire state. Damn, Buttigieg. Well, Michael Bloomberg, he got 113. But you're going to sit there and think that when you look at the electoral college and the total number of votes, and wait a minute, the electoral college, it wasn't even shown here, but these are the people that voted, okay? Just so that we understand this. They didn't develop the electoral college hasn't come out, but this is what the people were saying. Buttigieg, why are you doing this again? Why? J.D. Vance is going to slobber knock you. Oh my goodness, he's going to slobber knock you. But this right here came out in what, 2020, 2020. Where's the date? Where is a date on this? Okay. Election day, and this right here is early voting. And you know how people have early voting and they're going to update it? Okay. So I'm just thinking to myself, Pete, why are you doing this to yourself? It makes absolutely zero sense. Why? Because if he thinks, okay, let me back that up. Let me switch it around a little bit. He wants to get rid of the electoral college. Now, I don't know if he's doing that for himself or if he's setting things up for people that would have bigger name recognition, and then that would be able to bring more people back to the Democratic Party or even the Republican Party. It really doesn't matter, right? So is he laying out the groundwork to get rid of it? Because if you go back to the creation of the Electoral College, the founding fathers thought that the people who voted were complete idiots, right? Complete idiots. And that's just me saying that, because if you look at some of the stuff that people vote for, you're like, man, I'm so glad that there's a limit, a limit to certain things. So here, it shows you. Electoral College was given the idea to create by the Founding Fathers at the Constitutional Convention in 1778. I'm sorry, I said 1800. So the Electoral College has been around for a very long time because they're like, hey, we need to save the government from dare I say, the morons, because there are more morons than there are. Okay, all right. If you look at it now, it's like people are just losing their brain cells. And people are dealing more with identity politics instead of policy. That's scary. That is very scary. But here, it continues to say, although some consider it a relic from the past, our founding fathers put a lot of thought into the electoral system, and the rationale behind it is sound. The initial proposal put before the delegates was the Virginia Plan. Please type down the Virginia Plan, which called for the president to be elected by Congress. This idea was quickly dismissed because it violated the principles of the separation of powers. Very true. After much debate, the delegates decided to have electors assigned by each state elect the president. This decision was enshrined in Article 2, Section 1, Clause 3 of the Constitution, interestingly called the Electoral College. It is not found in the Constitution, not the name, but and was not written into federal law in 1848. So it is in the Constitution, but the term Electoral College wasn't found, but then you'll see the description of what they wanted done. And they're absolutely right that there has to be a separation of powers. Congress has to not vote because, man, that would be a disaster right there. No Republicans, no Democrats. You're a racist. You're a racist. You're a racist. You still own slaves. Well, I gave my slaves up. I mean, it's going to be crazy. But however, I think I think it's a good thing that they keep it. Now, before I'm like, oh my goodness, how did they vote for that guy? How did they? And I'm like, nah, get rid of it. But as I look back on it, now I'm like, I think they better keep it because these people out here are nuts. They'll go ahead and vote for a broomstick to run the country. And it got so bad during the 2020 election, you had people saying, I don't care if Joe Biden's in a coma, I will vote for him. Really? Nah. We need to bring sanity. Sanity. Now, this isn't an insane country, but however, yeah. So he was suggesting to get away from it, and he had his reasons for saying what he said. I get it. But however, it's not going to work because people had a lot to say about it. But let's look at what he was trying to get across. Okay. Now here, and this right here was like the first week of May. And he's calling out to abolish the electoral college. There's just one problem. Okay, he's like, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Pete Buttigieg. He became the Secretary of Transportation under Joe Biden. And he caught a lot of criticism. And even though people believe that Americans have a attention span of a tick, for most of the time, that's true. However, people are starting to remember things a little bit longer, and they're going to remember the East Palestine train explosion and how that was handled. And it fell on him, and then it took Trump to go up there to get him to do more than what he was doing. That was when Joe Biden went over to, what was it, Helsinki or someplace in Germany to basically tell the NATO that he's going to give the United States over to them and they could have every fiber of it under his presidency. That's what he said. But here, it says the former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is being mocked across the internet. Wow. And that right there is outside of the United States. People around the world is mocking him. But after he suggested at a town hall meeting in Tulsa, Oklahoma, now that right there, the history of that, that abolishing the electoral college would have resulted a Democrat in the White House. Really? Let's go back and look. Let's keep this in mind. And let's look up what he's suggesting. He's suggesting that there would have been a Democrat in the White House. Let's go back. Okay, in Idaho. I'm just going to use Idaho. I'm not going to go down the list. Donald Trump had 111,136. And this is still Idaho. Joe Biden had 52,679. Now, I know it's only one state that I'm looking at. But Trump really he went through and just split everything up. Everybody was like, we're tired of Trump. I mean, not tired of Trump, but tired of the Democrats, tired of Joe Biden, just tired of being tired, right? So, we go one more. Where's this? Michigan? Idaho, Michigan. All right, here. Joe Biden got 838,000, and Donald Trump got 639,000. So okay, all right. What is this? Mississippi. Joe Biden got 218,000, and Donald Trump got 240,000. So it goes on and on. And these right here are individual votes, as I just said, the total votes that people voted in early primary results. Not everybody, but this is early primary results, bumping people off, right? So let's just basically keep that right there in mind. So he's like, go ahead and get rid of everybody. Let me bring his picture up. Yeah, over here is Buttigieg. Let's go ahead. Let me just bring his picture up solely. Okay, that's him and his husband. So, no, let me bring up a better picture. That's a little. Okay, there. So he's like, okay, I got slobber knockered the first time. I got beat. I got beat so bad I made Kamala Harris look good. Right. I don't know. Well, I'll have to go back and look at the numbers on that one right there. But he's like, get rid of it. Democrats will have a better chance if we remove it. Now, I see the wisdom in it. And we are a representative republic, one person, one vote. And then we have the people that we put in office on a local level to represent us on the federal level. And there's great wisdom in that. Because we don't always have the most articulate people individually going out and saying some of the most craziest stuff. You look at these town hall meetings and you hear them unhinged, didn't take their medicine, some of the most craziest stuff to the most articulate that get straight to the policy, get straight to the point. So you have the two extremes. So instead of having the two extremes, let's just settle on one person that's going to be able to, that will be able to bring everyone's point and be able to articulate it to where everyone will be represented by that one person and go through our grievances and then bring the major ones out and then at some point get to the minor ones to where everybody wants to go in the same bathroom. Okay. All right. But that right there is quite interesting. It really is. I mean, as far as him going back, oh my goodness. So that was Buttigieg. And it just makes you all this noise. So it just makes you really stop and think. Again, and this is me saying it. He he must be laying down the groundwork for somebody else, because if you go back to Stacey Abrams and when she ran for governor, and man, it was embarrassing. You had Herschel Walker in one side of Georgia had more people voting for him than Stacey Abrams had for the entire state. Governor Kent just cleaned her clock on the floor, and she was so bad that man, she gave Kamala Harris a leg to stand on. She did. And Pete Buttigieg, the things that he was talking about, a lot of people were like, wait a minute, you're from where? And what you're talking about does not even affect all of the United States. It just affects where you're at. You're going to have to broaden your horizon. So it's going to be a little interesting to see how he's going to do this time. Maybe, just maybe, he might get a little bit more people. Maybe a lot can happen in 4 years, or shall I say 8 years. He might refine some things. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really kept up with him. But getting rid of the electoral college, it's greatly needed, I believe. Oh, let me show you this. Let me just show you this real quick, because I mentioned it, and I do want to show you proof. Okay, right here. The 23rd Amendment, including D.C. and the presidential elections. Okay, from 1790 to 1961, citizens D.C. could not vote in the federal elections because it is not a state. Great. But they could not vote for president or vice president or members of the House of Representatives or Senate. The 23rd Amendment gives them the right to vote in the federal elections for president, vice president, and of the United States. So we see that right there. Again, I thought that DC couldn't vote at all. But here in the District Clause, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitution, it gives Congress the authority to create the District of Columbia and the Continental Congress, which the nation needed an official government seat that was not in a current state or subject to the authority or to the state's authority. So that right there was done in 1961. Let me see. Did we learn about that in the history books in government? All right, so I just want to make sure to point that out. All right, so Buttigieg. What are your thoughts of him? Do you think he may have a point, or do you think he is just out of touch? What are your thoughts?